The men's Olympic basketball team continues to roll in Paris. On Saturday, Team USA recorded a 104-83 victory over Puerto Rico. So let's talk some Olympic basketball. We're going to do it with a contributor to the New York Post and the Action Network. Bryan Fonseca joins me now. Bryan, how are you doing? You're an international basketball guru, loving the basketball. I know you're happy that group play is over. Now we're into the knockout phase.
Just about, yeah. Just waiting on one more
One more.
with South Sudan, and obviously, not feeling great that Puerto Rico men's or women's team didn't win a game this time, but encouraging progress to build off of, considering both programs, you know, weren't here previously. The women were, but they didn't play this well, so that's good.
Okay, Bryan, being the proud Puerto Rican, was hoping the men's and women's teams did something there. They didn't get a game, but they were one of 12 teams to make the Olympics, so that is definitely an accomplishment. Now, Bryan, we're going to talk about Team USA, though. They routed Puerto Rico. They go undefeated in group play. How do you assess Team USA's play as they move on to the quarterfinals?
So this game in particular is really a hard one to use as a springboard to anything. We obviously saw the most Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum that we've seen so far in the Olympic experience, and this makes a lot of sense because Team USA, they needed the game to get first overall, but the point differential that separated Germany and Team USA was just 4, so they basically needed to beat Puerto Rico by at least 5 points to get the top seed overall. And even then, it's like you're feeling good about their chances. Regardless, it looks like they're going to play most likely Brazil next, although it could be Greece depending on what happens in the Serbia-South Sudanese game. And we'll see from there what the matchup is. But overall, like, this is a game that they kind of played it the way that they should have. You know, the rotations were a little bit different. They were trying some things out, more experimental. We saw Tyrese Halliburton also check in and get some minutes, which hasn't been a consistent thing throughout the Team USA experience. So it kind of was what it was. And they were also fortunate that Puerto Rico, who is a very, very good three-point shooting team, did not shoot well from three in this game. The defense had something to do with that, but they were 10 for 37 for 27% from three-point range. And this is a team that typically makes about 38% or so, dating back to the World Cup last year and qualifiers and things of that nature, on high volume, like 30 and over 33s a game. And they did not do that today.
Did not do that today, but we saw a lot of players, like you said, who hadn't played before. A little more Joel Embiid, a little bit more of Jason Tatum there. But I want to talk to you about one player in particular, and that's Anthony Edwards. He delivered a strong game off the bench, team high 26 points. What have you made of Edwards' first time playing in the Olympics?
Yeah, it's getting better. The experience, I feel like the decision making is getting better, especially. That's something that I felt like was a struggle, particularly in the scrimmages, and even at times in that first game against South Sudan, but mostly in the scrimmages. And with Anthony Edwards, he recognized that he had a better matchup today. This isn't like a big, lanky team. Puerto Rico is small. They're quick, but they're small. And overall, when you have guys like Tremont Waters and respectfully Jose Alvarado and obviously Jordan Howard, in front of you, all of whom may be under 6 feet tall, depending on how you're sort of assessing this. Anthony Edwards was able to take advantage of that, and then other matchups where he was able to take advantage of wings, in particular from the Puerto Rican national team, who probably can't stay in front of Edwards in that way. And also, he had some tough shots to his credit. We know Anthony Edwards is one of the most elite shooting guards in the NBA already at a very young age. Some people think he's going to be the face of the league, and he's certainly in the conversation for that. I think he's going to be on the cover of 2K next year, perhaps. Like, this is somebody who's really, really good. Shot 11 for 15, was efficient, and he did so in just 17 minutes of play. So this is going to be hard to replicate going forward as the games get tougher. But, in the quarterfinals, they're going to get a matchup that's going to be favorable again. So maybe Anthony Edwards is able to keep this going.
You talk about the games getting tougher there, Bryan, because the Americans now move on to the knockout rounds, and they are the #1 seed moving forward. What will you be looking for with Team USA in terms of elevating their game in these knockout rounds as the competition gets tougher?
Probably the shooting is maybe the most important thing because, in this tournament, now we're moving into the March Madness phase of the Olympics, where this is truly going to feel like March Madness. And I've been saying, and I said it here on this platform a couple weeks ago, obviously, where we talked about this in the preview, where I'm like, hey, you have to look at this as almost like a March Madness style tournament, not necessarily the NBA playoffs. Well, now we're there because it's single elimination from here. And obviously, if you lose in the semifinals, you could play for a bronze medal. And the way to sort of match up with Team USA is You want to try to hit three-pointers at a high volume. That's going to be the book on them. If other teams are going to try to do that. We know that when they go deep into the tournament, if they're going to run into Germany, which is a potentially dangerous matchup, and I think the second best team in this world, in this Olympics, they're going to try to shoot threes and level the playing field. So I think that's going to be something to watch because the three-point shooting for Team USA hasn't been super consistent. They shot 28% from three today, 9 of 32. They were able to get away with it, obviously, because they were just much better than Puerto Rico. But going forward, I think teams are going to try to step up their game in terms of three-point volume and whether or not they can hit those shots. And if they hit enough and have a hot shooting game, like it's going to make things interesting for Team USA to navigate.
All right, watch out for the three-point shooting for Team USA. We'll see if they can knock those shots from downtown. We saw that a bit streaky in some of the exhibition games leading up to these Olympics, and they haven't been as consistent throughout these Olympic Games. That is Bryan Fonseca, contributor to the New York Post and the Action Network. Check him out. Bryan, again, sorry about Team Puerto Rico, but Team USA is moving on, and I know you will continue to enjoy this international basketball.
Listen, the AmeriCup is next year. International basketball never stops. There's still more to come. We got the AmeriCup. The World Cup is in 3 years. There's more to come. More to come.
And we know this makes you happy. We know that. Thank you, Bryan. Appreciate it, man.